Parents of twins babies. Are you 100% sure you know which twin is which? There was a twin in my high school. They looked exactly alike, but their personalities were the opposite. One was an angel, but the other was evil. So, only 10 seconds of the talk was enough to tell apart. My mom knows for sure which one is which. My dad, I don't think so. He either says one of our names or just says one of you boys. He can't tell the difference mostly. My mother sat my twin brother and I across from each other in our high chairs. So whatever my brother did with his right hand, I copied it with my left hand, the hand across from his. So I'm a lefty and he's a righty. Mirror image twins, it sounds like. There is a theory that every left-handed person started as a twin. I'm probably being stupid, but I don't understand why mixing up baby twins seems to be such a big deal. I mean, until they're old enough to know which one they are themselves and correct you. What's the difference if one day you start calling baby A B and baby B A? Well, it might matter sometimes. My mother works in a kindergarten where they once had a pair of twins, identical. They were having difficulties telling which was which, and they acted as one. We don't want to play with that toy, we want that meals, etc. Anyways, their parents gave them different colored earrings so you could tell which was which. My mother and the staff realized that it is always one kid A, making the choices for the both, and always the one that was speaking. They were put into different groups, and they worked on trying to get kid B to speak for herself and make choices. I know you were talking of babies, but at what stage will they learn to be independent? The kids in this anecdote were around 3 to 4. My twins are fraternal, but one is definitely the speaker of the two. We had to work at getting him to shut up just so his brother could have a chance to answer. He's a thinker. Twins run in my family. My mom always said if you have twins, you paint their toenails before you take off the medical id bracelet. Each twin gets a toenail color, and you dab a little on the bracelet and keep it in a safe place for later reference if needed. Yes, after tattooing them. Dalton has the freckle on his cheek, Dawson has the freckle on his cheek. Dad to twin 2.5-year-old boys here. I kinda need them to be both together to get a reference point. It takes me a minute to work out which one is which if they are not together. Many times the wrong name has been yelled when one of the little treasures is trying to push the TV over. If they are not facing me, I have no chance. My wife is youngest of 4 children at a farm. She's been addressed by the dog's name on more than one occasion while in trouble. It's also humorous watching her mother cycle through the names of the grandkids, then dogs, then kids, before finally arriving at the right name. My mom is one of 8 and had the least amount of kids, too, so when we all end up in the same spot, often drunk at a funeral, it's a shit show of fucking up names. It's a tradition in her family to yell, Fritz, the name of their childhood German Shepherd, when anyone starts rattling off a list and getting it wrong. Kinda related, my little brother was one of those toddlers with a death wish, always climbing and jumping off of things. He genuinely thought his name was Jesus Christ for a while, which made the early days of Catholic preschool awkward. Give him the same name. That way, when you do get it wrong, nobody will notice. What does the pharmacy do at that point? Do they just give up? Percocet for everybody. Sorry, got excited. My stepsisters are identical twins, and I've asked this question before when I was still having trouble picking them apart from one another. As long as I've really known them, I've never had trouble distinguishing one from the other. When you see the same twins day in and day out, you pick up on little differences in their features that someone who may have just met them or doesn't see them often wouldn't notice. The same holds true when they are babies/children. I'm not saying that it's never happened, but it's probably far less common than you'd imagine. Friends of mine had twins. I was talking to the mom and she said she had to put pink toenail polish on a toe of one of the twins to remember which one was which for the first few weeks, but after that she knew who was who. But if she ever asked me to feed or hold one of the twins, I'd approach one and hear her tell me that's the other twin. My younger half-brothers are twins. My dad would confuse them, but my stepmother could tell them apart from birth. In fact, it always baffled her that other people couldn't. To her, they looked so different. She was a very intuitive person, and I think she could tell the differences in their personalities that early on, and so to her, they looked different. God rest her soul, she was a wonderful lady. Now that I think about it, I remember watching an episode of Sweet Life of Zack and Cody that was literally this way back. My mom switched her identical twin brothers in their cribs often when she was little. My grandma and grandpa aren't 100% sure if the twins are who they originally are. My cousin and I aren't twins, but we were born a week apart. I'm a female and he's a male. One time when we were babies, my mom switched our outfits, so I was wearing blue, and he was wearing pink. My grandma almost had a heart attack when she tried to change my diaper. Not exactly the same situation, but my daughter was born. After 24 hours of labor, I went out to get breakfast, and my wife stayed in the L&D room with the baby in the bassinet. The room was sort of L-shaped, with the bed in the foot of the L, the bassinet at the corner, and the door to the hall on the other end. While I was gone, my sister-in-law came to visit, with her 6-month-old. She took our daughter out of the bassinet, put her own baby in it, and brought our daughter over to my wife in bed. So I came back from breakfast. The bed was not really visible from the door, only the bassinet, which contained a huge baby, arms and legs overflowing. I had to hold on to the door jamb to keep from collapsing. I have a cousin who had 3 kids with his wife. Then they decided that was enough, so she got an IUD. They still got pregnant with twins. So now they have 5 kids and are exhausted all the time. When the twins were infants, my cousin's wife handed him a baby and asked my cousin if he thought Ben, one of the twins, looked sunburned. He glanced down and said Ben looked fine and handed him back. The baby wasn't Ben, he wasn't Nick, Ben's brother. He wasn't my cousin's baby. It was our friend's baby and my cousin had no idea. Fingerprints, even identical twins do not have identical fingerprints. Nope. I am 99% sure the one we call Briar is actually Rose, but they're too old to change back. With the pandemic I haven't seen my nephews that much, so every time they show up at a Skype session I'm like, hey, yo, nephew. I don't need a pandemic or to be talking to twins to have that problem. I'm pretty sure that when I was a baby my parents could tell us apart because I was packing a penis and my sister wasn't. She's probably packing someone's penis now though. Yo. My identical twin boys look totally different to me, but nobody else can seem to tell them apart, so maybe it's just because I'm with them 24/7. There are moments they'll have the same expression on their faces and I'll go, oh my god, they look so alike sometimes. Oh, right, yep, pretty hard to confuse my son for my daughter. Am identical twin. When we were born, my twin was heavier than me, and just stayed that way until adulthood. In order to tell us apart, our parents would pick both of us up. Okay, this one's, insert caffeine, she's the small one. We were also easy to tell apart in the mornings, as I'd wake up early, in a good mood, and ready for the day. Still do, twin would wake up late and fussy. It's super easy to tell us apart now, since we have different body types, personal styles, and genders. Twin bro is transgender, athletic, and dresses like a hippie whenever he doesn't have to dress like a doctor. I'm a pudgy post-menopausal potato who usually wears graphic tees, hoodies, and sweats in the winter and dresses in the summer. Interesting. Seeing there's something behind just genetic component to people's sexual/gender preferences. No, when I stole them from the hospital I was in too much of a rush to find out their names. Yeah, that few minutes after childbirth are hectic. The nurses need to be on top of things when labeling the babies with their plastic bands on who is who, otherwise the older baby might believe they're the younger baby their whole life. I've always thought the bands were a bad labeling system. The night I was born, the maternity ward was in chaos. Plenty of newborns, myself included, didn't get bands at all. Life lesson, always carry a Sharpie with you. One was born with a heart defect, so yeah, I know for sure which one is which. She's fine, by the way. After 4 surgeries, 6 months, 3 years, 16 years, and then at 30 years. She's doing great, just like her sister. Not a parent, but a twin lol. Luckily my sibling had a birthmark, so I doubt our mom confused us. Though my mom thought my twin was deaf BC, they thought our names were reversed when they were little lol. It's obvious. The one with the moustache is the evil twin. And people still chew me out for having a moustache surgically attached to one of my twins. They just don't understand how much it will help in the long run. Even Mrs. Weasley wasn't 100% sure and she was a witch. Don't feel bad parents, we wanna know. My mom painted my toes pink and my sister's purple. But we are fraternal, so a couple of weeks in it became less tricky. I'm an identical twin. Definitely have different birthmarks/freckles. Relatives would constantly lift up my dresses to see my birthmark instead of getting to know us as individuals. Shit got old fast. Twins can look like a complete copy, but there will always be slight physical features and usually mannerisms. That's absolutely awful. Not a parent, but I'm a twin myself. My mother and father get confused with me and my brother, because we sound the same. I'm a girl, he is a boy. I also got misgendered on a Discord call. By 2 people.